On this trip, East Coast Overland had 3 vehicles, exploring some popular and less known spots in the George Washington National Forest. Our goal was to make it to camp before sundown on the first night. On a previous trip, we've scouted out a campsite close to a reservoir and a waterfall with great hiking trails. Quickly, we found that some of these tighter trails were going to be a challenge for the full-size F-150 on the trip.
We've set up camp, sort of, in the middle of nowhere.
After dinner, we decided to review the plan for the next day. This is a dramatic reenactment of that night. The next day we aired up, looking forward to an entire day on the trails and the first part of our giant loop through George Washington National Forest. With just a set of all-season tires and low ground clearance, we were impressed with Dave's ability to get his rig up and down some of the steeper trails without damaging his truck in the process.
We're on 240 right now, halfway through this part of the trail, and that's where we've been. Trucks are still operational.
Our loop kept us on most of the well-known and well-traveled trails in the George Washington National Forest, giving us time to explore some of the off-trails by vehicle and by foot.
This is East Coast Overlanders on a hike, geriatric march. The guy in the pretty blue is a little grumpy right now, so we're just gonna focus on the color of his head getting redder. But it's gonna be worth it.
The short hike took us to High Knob, one of the more popular trails in the George Washington National Forest. Unfortunately, this is the only picture that we took.
It's about 6 o'clock. We just made camp after some fishing. Got everyone setting up their tents. Got Jesse going with the
I got the hard shell.
the hard shell. It's a new addition. Not the band. Got Dave with his single person tent and his long rods.
He's all shaft, boys and girls.
And here's our campsite. All right, we veered back down and we are ready to go. Look at that stud. So we have a good trip up here. Headed to Flagpole Knob.
This leg of the trip took us past Flagpole Knob, one of the more popular trails and areas for those of us who live in this region. It also showed how lightly modified or even stock vehicles can make the trip with correct planning and with the right weather conditions.
Easy, man. Yeah, I need some help here, Jess. Go really slow, Dave. Roll your other window down so you can hear us. I know it does. Hold up, Dave. You want to guide him a little bit more and I'll film a little more? I'll keep an eye on this side over here though. He's just gonna have to swing. I think he can cut his wheel now.
Although the camera didn't do it much justice, this bend in the trail, with a washout and big rocks to the left, gave our vehicles a tough time trying to find the right line, especially with some of the lower clearance vehicles on this trip.
Yeah, those two were scary.
Jesus Christ, yes.
No, yeah. White, yeah, no, just keep going. I thought you were just going to keep going on that arc.
Oh, gotcha.
More. All right.
After giving that tutorial on how not to pick a great line around the corner, we also had to deal with some trees that were recently downed in a storm. For the two Toyotas it was no problem, but the big F-150 had to narrowly squeeze through a few passes. Flagpole Knob is always a beautiful spot to visit, and as trails become more popular, it's always important to look around and please leave Flagpole Knob cleaner than when you found it. This short overlanding trip gave 3 good friends a chance to reconnect, which was especially important given the fact that the pandemic has kept people mostly apart. Remember, if you hit the trails, please make sure that you leave the trails and your campsites cleaner than when you found them, and tread lightly.